What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode with Upside AI here, the Upside and AI podcast. Today, we're talking about ChatGPT for business optimization. We're going to cover 7 practical ways to save time, help you grow your revenue, and help you really just automate smarter. Most people are currently using ChatGPT more of as like a Google search, but ChatGPT is capable of so much more. And today, we're kind of going to talk about how you can think of ChatGPT really as an assistant to you, as really your second brain, and even more specifically as a business coach. So who are we? First of all, we are Upside AI. My name is Ledy. I'm the co-founder and CEO. I've done over $100 million in commercial real estate sales. I'm the owner of 2 RV parks, one that we're at right now. I own a couple single family rentals, a multifamily property, and some other assets as well. I'm also the author of Tune Your Mind, a book on thriving through economic and personal challenging times. We've also got Bezz here, who's the co-founder and chief marketing officer. He's an award-winning filmmaker and motion picture actor. He's boosted multi-million-dollar real estate sales using strategic marketing, media marketing. And he's also our AI and tech expert in building websites, chatbots, and automation systems. And then we've got Max here, who's a chief AI officer and automation strategist. He studied artificial intelligence in college and specializes in identifying automation opportunities, streamlining workflows, and implementing different AI tools. And he's helped drive hundreds of thousands in ROI for small and medium-sized businesses. And together we're Upside. So like we said, today we're talking about ChatGPT for your business. We've got 7 different topics and kind of going in sequential order of how we think you should be thinking about different tools for optimizing your business using ChatGPT or other large language models, LLMs as they are referred to, which could be Grok, it could be Claude. There's a bunch of different systems out there, but we're going to specifically reference them as ChatGPT for today because that's what most people are familiar with. And we've played with a lot of the different ones, and there's different values in each different LLM, but I think that ChatGPT right now is a little bit more of the most conclusively comprehensive system that's available right now for a wide range of reasons. So we'll get into some more of the details of that, but just for simplicity's sake, we're going to be talking about ChatGPT today. So the first topic is master prompting and custom AI setup. So this is really the first thing that you need to think about when you first start working with ChatGPT to help automate your business. Master prompts. So what does that mean? It's about how do you make sure that ChatGPT understands who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, what your business contains, what your goals consist of, what type of property you have, the different values that you have internally inside of your business. So really the concept here is quality in equals quality out. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the different prompts. Max is pretty good with some of these prompting ideas. So why don't you go ahead and give a little bit of context on how people can be prompting their ChatGPTs?
Absolutely. So like you said, giving it as much context as you're comfortable giving it in order to generate the best insights and overall the best responses. You guys know how much of a pain it has been in the past interacting with ChatGPT when it doesn't always remember certain parts about, you or your business or projects you've worked on in the past. The idea behind the master prompt is that you basically train the model on everything that you want it to know about you. So, like you said, you can input things personally about your own goals, about your past work experience, about your business goals, and even your values to help ChatGPT to understand what kind of outcome you desire. That way, every single time you enter in a prompt, whether it's in a project or if you're just interacting with the regular model, it is always drawing from that broader context of what you want. Um, it's said that ChatGPT is not limited by the actual technology, but rather by our own creativity and how we utilize the tool. And so using a master prompt, it definitely draws a much greater percentage of what the model is capable of.
Yeah. So what does that actually look like? How does somebody actually create a master prompt? And Bez, maybe you want to pull up If you could screen share your ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, basically, I mean, you are teaching this robot and it has memory. And let me get this sharing here. Boom, share directly. Awesome. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Perfect. So as you can see, introducing ChatGPT 5, that just came out yesterday. So that's exciting. There's been incredible updates on that. People are making music. People are making video games. It's nuts. I haven't really dove into it myself just yet. Been busy, but I'm very excited about that. So yeah, if you go down to the bottom left where you have your sign in, you can go to settings and you'll see you have a personalization. In this personalization, you can have custom instructions. You turn that on. And as you can see here, I'll just go through a brief part of this. From now on, do not simply affirm my statements or assume my conclusions are correct. Your goal is to be an intellectual sparring partner, right? So a lot of people, have found ChatGPT to be awesome because all it does is agree with you and everybody wants to be right. But that's not exactly what you want for your business, especially. I mean, for your personal life either. But definitely want to make sure that it's actually analyzing and what might be your assumptions, right? What am I taking for granted to not be true? So you can give it, and we can, post this.
Yeah, so we actually have created a 10 different master prompt PDF that we will send to anybody that's interested in it. If you just put GPT down in the comments of wherever you're listening to this, we will, or reach out to us directly, shoot us an email. We'll give more info on that at the end, but we're going to send you master prompts based on all the different concepts that we're going to cover here today.
Yeah, it'll be super, super duper helpful. Another thing you can dive into is you can manage your memories, right? So, it stores memories, and there'll be times when you're chatting with it. If it says something about your business that's incorrect, you can tell it directly. Please do not forget this. This is something you need to remember. You'll see it say saved the memory, and then that'll be in your memories there.
So even more specifically for people, how do you save a memory if there's something that you want to remember?
Absolutely. So you can either, while you're in the chat with them, just simply say, do not forget this, save this as a memory. You can just say it directly to the chat. Otherwise, you can go right in here into your settings and you can go to your personalization. You can manage your memories. It looks like you can't directly add from there. So yeah, the only way tries to remember most of your chats, but may forget things over time. Saved memories are never forgotten. So yeah, for you to be able to give it a memory, you just simply tell chat, do not forget this, save this as a memory.
Yeah, also in your settings there's an option where you do need to make sure that it's toggled on, which is for allowing ChatGPT to remember everything that you're talking about in your chats.
Is that the reference record history here?
Correct.
Yep.
So that's a newer feature. I think that was rolled out in maybe ChatGPT 4. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember before you'd only be able to ask it questions that it would remember about you as to things that were in your memory. Now it's starting to remember all the different context around stuff that you've put in other chats.
Yeah, and another way that you can improve that too, so that, because you're obviously going to be talking to them about a variety of different things. So you see over here, I have these different topics. So I have my DJ producer topic when I go into there. So anytime I want to talk to them about that, I do that. Anytime we're talking about the RV park rolling home or my breath flow project or Upside AI, I can simply go into this project and it has all of the talks that I've had about that particular project, and that makes it easier for it to know what you're referencing. So you don't even have to be, hey, about Upside AI, yada, yada, yada. You can just simply be right into the project file and it will know the context about what you're talking about and then can reference all of the previous conversations.
Keeps you much more organized.
Yeah, which I need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in general, right, you want to that's kind of the basics on the inside of actually saving the information. But just on a more general concept, the more information that you can provide ChatGPT with, the more intelligent it's going to be able to produce responses for you. So that could consist of inputting all of your maybe job descriptions into ChatGPT. You want to give it access to your website. You could even scrape your entire website, copy and paste everything in from there. Any other forms of data that you have on your business, any kind of record keeping that you have, maybe you've been recording phone calls, however you've been tracking, maybe you've got Excel spreadsheets full of data about your business, whatever you're comfortable sharing with it. It's also an important piece. The privacy side of ChatGPT and some of these LLMs is still a little bit, we're still working through some of the details of this. These things are growing very fast. Stuff that you might want to keep more confidential, you may want to consider, being a little bit more cautious in what you share with it. Personally, I'm putting a lot of information on there. I'm putting a lot of personal stuff from, personal journals and all sorts of stuff like that to give it really context about me and my life. And I think that that's also an important concept as it relates to your business goals, because your business isn't separate from you. Your business is ultimately an extension of who you are. It's a huge portion of the life that you live. So if you're making goals in your business, it also is goals in your life. So I think that the more integrated you can make your ChatGPT, the more powerfully it can actually help you to align in the direction that you're trying to go for goals in life and goals and things that are outside of your business. So the more context that you're able to give it, the more effectively it can respond to you. And as you set some more of those more concepts like Bezz was mentioning, don't just give me fluff. Don't just make me feel good about myself. Tell me honest truths. That's kind of more of it, the way that it's responding to you. You can set what are the priorities, what are the values that you want it to have, what's the tone that you want it to have. Do you want it to be goofy with you, or do you want it to be super serious? You can really shift it in any way that you can think of. You think of the personality of the bot that you would love to have back. It's really only limited by your own creativity. It's getting pretty impressive the way that it can spit that info out to you.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, the input you put in is the input you put out. I, at one point, wanted my vows. Me and my wife made sure that our vows were exactly the same number of words. And so I had inputted my vows into ChatGPT. So just a few months ago, when I was doing an exercise for goal setting for my business and for my life, ChatGPT was able to, when I was doing a picture visualization of what I wanted my life to look like in a year from now, it was able to reference some of those goals and some of those vows that I had made to my wife in that visualization. And so from there, it became so much more powerful as a sparring partner, as a conversation between me and chat on what I wanted my life to look like in a year, because it was able to reference those things, that really, really important part of me and part of my life. So again, obviously be careful if you want to on the information that you put into chat, but at the end of the day, what you give it is what it's able to use to output back to you and really work with you to improve your life and your business.
100%. And when you mentioned sparring partner, that brings up a topic that I wanted to hit on, in that, like you mentioned in the beginning, CJ, most people tend to want to use ChatGPT as a search engine and just get back answers, but really a more powerful way to use the model, and an important mental reframe to make, is to interact with the model like a teammate. This was a study that was done by an MIT professor who was looking into ways to maximize the use of large language models. And he found that when people were conversating with ChatGPT as if it was a business coach or whatever persona that you want to give it, you're actually taking much more advantage of the true capabilities.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've heard of people, in fact, we did this, with some of our exercises, is I want you to act as though you are Gary Vee, or I want you to act as though you are Grant Cardone, I want you to use their language, to use their philosophy. And it knows their language and their philosophy because it has every single transcript of every single video that's on the internet of all of these, incredible world and thought leaders. So whoever is your thought leader, you can influence your chat to be that for you.
Totally.
That. Yeah. Actually, I want to pull it up real quick. I've got a short prompting. I'm not going to screen share this. Okay, this was just a few key concepts that I heard. This was a few months ago, but the different characteristics you want to give it. Give it a persona, so a demographic of who it is supposed to be. Like you just said, be Gary Vee, or be somebody who's a master prompt engineer, or be, an architect and blah, blah, blah. And then give it context. That's the next piece. So what is the scenario that it should understand about the frame that you're giving it? Then the third piece is what you actually want it to do. Then who do you want it, or how do you want it to be given back to you? So do you want the information to be given back to you in a bulleted list? Do you want it in a 10-paragraph summary? Do you want it in a slideshow? Do you want it in a picture? Then the next piece is give it examples of what you would want it to be similar to. So maybe it is a bulleted list. If you have another bulleted list that is very similar to what the output that you would want it to have, copy and paste that bulleted list and say, here's an example of how I want you to produce this bulleted list. And that will help it to frame it as closely as possible. And then finally, tell it the tone that you want it to have. So have a playful tone, have a serious tone, have professional. This is a student. This is XYZ. So give it the tone of language that you want it to spit back to you. Those are just a couple general conceptual pieces of how you can be prompting different actual individual asks of ChatGPT. All right, so basic concept there is quality in equals quality out. Make sure that you're putting accurate information and as much information as you're comfortable putting in, and you will get better and better responses out. And as these bots are getting smarter, it's been pretty wild. My ability to ask it very simple, fragmented comments. I mean, obviously, like what I just said is how you really get the right answer, but it's getting to the point where you can just be like, hey, make me that thing about the thing we talked about yesterday, and, please make it good. And you would, in most instances, you'd be like, what are you talking about? But ChatGPT is getting smart enough that even you're spelling it wrong, you're barely even loosely referring to it, and it's like, it's nailing it. It's exciting. It's kind of scary. It's getting wildly good at that.
You know what's
The
funny
thing
about that is
oh, yeah, go ahead.
my wife actually gets pretty upset with me because an hour after I was talking about something, I will continue the conversation as if I haven't dropped the conversation. I'll say, and also da 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 da, and she'll be like, "What are you talking about?" But with chat, you can do that. So,
Exactly.
improvements.
Yeah, and in Siege, the reason that you were able to get such great responses based off of just fragmented little, bits and pieces of questions is because you've already interacted with it so much, and you have told it what kind of responses you want, and you have also given it so much context about your business and life that it's able to generate pretty incredible responses just because it knows so much about you.
Exactly.
And this can be
Quality
really
in.
helpful. A lot of people get really bogged down with decision fatigue, or even just with like busy work fatigue. Like when you have an email come in and you should respond to it right now. They say millionaires do things right now. They don't put anything off. If they have to do the task right now, so many people will not do that email because they're like, I don't want to have to think about responding professionally and respectfully and A, B, C, and D. Well, your ChatGPT, once it knows you, you can literally just take a screenshot of that, post it in your ChatGPT, and just say, help me respond. And it'll give you a response. And 99% of it is perfect to your voice, and you don't have to change a thing. And you're not, doing anything fake. You've programmed this thing to respond in the way that you would, especially when it's rudimental, elementary responses, small talk. It's nothing that has to do with like a personal response. And this can really help you to continue to stay forward, especially entrepreneurs and business owners in this world. Like you can't keep bogged down by these, small decisions and tasks. Let ChatGPT offload to ChatGPT and let it do that for you.
Yeah.
Interesting
And Bezz, a
thought.
quick pro tip.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick pro tip on tone, just to dig a little bit deeper into that. If you have it, for example, if you have a bunch of notes that you've taken over the years or different examples of your writing, you can have it analyze your tone and then input that into your master prompt and say, I want you to analyze and memorize the way that I write. And then that's how you can then use it to create responses that are in your tone.
Yeah, one other piece, and then I want to move on so we can hit the rest of our topics here. But that I'm not even 100% sure that this has just been my experience. So like Bezz said, if you have an email that you want to respond to, My experience has been the best when you just ask it first to respond to this email. It gives you the spit out, and then ask it, okay, now give me 5 other responses, and it'll, break it down in different ways. You could read each paragraph. Sometimes one's better than the other. The reason that I don't necessarily think that you should ask it right off the bat, hey, give me 5 different responses to this, is because what I feel like has been happening in my own experience is that it's diluting the response.
100%.
The first time you ask it, it's like it's doing everything it can to make that one right. And when you go across 5 of them, it's like sort of spreading it out across them. Now, like I said, I don't know that that's not something I've studied but that's just been my experience.
That's happened with me as well. I've noticed that as well. Is you want to get that first response, its best possible answer, and then from there be like, okay, cool, give me 5 variations. And even from there too, you can say, give me 5 variations, but leave this part out, or lean more towards this element of it. So yeah, super smart tip there.
All right, cool. So the next topic for how to optimize your business using ChatGPT, we want to talk about marketing optimization. So this is about how do you look at your business from a client-facing perspective, a guest-facing perspective. And the first step that we would advise for this is to generate reports on your website flow and your current SEO. So we've got ChatGPT prompts, like we said. We'll send them to you if you're interested in it. But you want to first prompt ChatGPT to look at your website. You do a deep research. You could even, Bezz, why don't you pull up your ChatGPT again? There's different functionalities that you can be using ChatGPT to do based on how you want it to think. So what you do is you run a deep research report on your website flow and ask it, what is a customer experiencing as they go through this? Please give me a detailed breakdown. Point out the different points where they might be running into getting stuck in a certain point on the page, or where the wording isn't flowing accurately, whatever else it may be. So, Bezz, if you go up into the top right corner where it says ChatGPT 5 up there, and then you click that drop down, there should be options there, right? Is that not giving it? Maybe they've changed the layout of this a little bit.
Sorry, what is it you're looking for?
Hit the plus button. I'm looking for deep research. Maybe hit the plus button in the chat there in your question mark. Yeah,
I think it's in deep research. Yeah,
okay.
Right in here.
Maybe it's always been there too. Yeah, so there's different. I can't read those. What are the other options?
Agent mode, deep research, create image, web search, and then there's more. Yeah, agent mode is when you start actually allowing ChatGPT to go in and take control of your computer and do things for you, actually handle tasks, not just tell you how to do them.
Well, caveat, it doesn't control your computer. It opens up its own browser and runs a function. So you don't have to worry about it interacting with your hard drive computer. It will open up its own browsers, but you can watch it in real time. You say, hey, go book a reservation at the Rollin' Home RV Park for me, and you can watch it, pull up a browser, pull up our website, click on book a reservation, all the way through. And you can watch it, you can stop it, you can influence it. Yeah, Agent's pretty cool. It's relatively new.
Yeah, very new.
It's kind of like a
deep
Manus.
research here.
Use Manus.
Yeah, right. But yeah, here's deep research. You only get so many based on the particular plan that you have. Also, create image, is another one that you can do, which has gotten a lot better. It used to actually be quite awful, but it's really improved. There's a lot better engines out there. Midjourney is honestly probably the best image generating agent out there. Midjourney.
Yeah, ChatGPT's gotten pretty good. I was playing with it yesterday, and it was spitting out some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it definitely especially can help you when it comes to, if you're a visual learner, which I am, sometimes I'll be asking it, like for instance, the layout of our website that I designed, I asked different ways to help with automation flow, and it would give me it in words, and it was harder for me to comprehend that sometimes because I am just a visual learner. So I'd just say, can you give me an idea of what that would look like? And so it takes a little bit longer, but it creates the image and it shows you visually what it was trying to do, how it was trying to set it up for you. And so that's when I found it to be most helpful. But as far as generating images that you want to use for marketing or for your logo or anything like that, it's best to use ChatGPT to create a prompt for you to then plug into Midjourney. So sometimes creating an image with Midjourney can be difficult. You don't know how to prompt it, how to use it. That's fine. Chat knows how to use it. So you say, Chat, I want to create this type of image. Give me an image like this, and then it will give you that image, and then you can actually copy that image, put it into Midjourney, and then ask ChatGPT for a prompt to tell Midjourney how to use that image to create a better image. And that's the best flow for you to get the closest to what you really want out of especially any kind of design or art image.
And quick pro tip, it actually doesn't just have to be another application that you put that prompt into. You can even have ChatGPT give you another prompt to put back into ChatGPT, because
100%.
the model actually knows how to interact with itself better than certainly better than you do. And this is called a meta prompt.
Yeah, great point. That's something we should have touched on a little bit in the prompting section. So yeah, when you want to prompt ChatGPT, you should prompt it to prompt itself. Say, hey, it really almost anything that you're doing, I'm typically doing this. If it's requiring a little bit more nuance, I will start by saying, write me a prompt for XYZ task that I'm trying to create. So instead of just saying XYZ task that you're trying to ask it, instead say, prompt me a prompt for XYZ task. And then it'll give you, a paragraph or two that will detail the actual prompt. Yeah, maybe do one in real time there, Bezz. Ask it to prompt. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to do something really fun just because I think this is super fun, but you can do stuff like this too that's not all serious in business. You can.
What does this say? I can't read this thing. Make a cartoon variation.
Make a cartoon version of the Upside team. So I just screenshotted us hooligans, right? And I'm going to plug that in, and it's going to make a cartoon version of us, and it's super fun. But anyway, what were you going to say I should do?
No, I was just going to say showing people how to prompt a prompt. So basically you just say, hey, if you were trying to, so even in that instance, Bezz wants to make a cartoon version of us. What you could have done is said, make me a prompt for asking us to build a cartoon version of us, talk about color, talk about how we're oriented together, blah, blah, blah. So it'll spit out a deeper detailed prompt. And then from there, you can reverse engineer the prompt itself and say, well, you know what? It asked me for blues and grays, but instead I want reds and pinks or whatever else. You know what I mean? So have it reference color, have it reference where the people are located, have it reference the detail of the actual cartoon versus realistic picture. And yeah, it should be able to, let's see if that works. Sometimes because you're already creating a picture
in
that.
I had to stop it because sometimes, and this has been happening to me more recently, usually there's like a little thing that's like blinking, and it shows that it's working and says creating image, but it's actually been erroring out lately. I don't know if it's happening for you guys where like here you can see it doesn't show that it's actually working on anything. You can see down here I have a stop button available, which means it should be working. There we go, getting started. Maybe it's because I'm running this podcast at the same time, so I wasn't able to show that, but
yeah. All right, well, keep that going in the background.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's keep
I'll
it moving.
Pull it back up when it comes.
Like we said, you want to start off by checking out, running a report of your website flow and your current SEO. Just have ChatGPT give you a response that says, hey, here's what we think about where you're at. Here's what you could do to improve your SEO, to improve your website flow. That's a starting point. The next piece is to create a customer profile. So, Max, maybe you want to talk about how you did that for Rolling Home.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about Rolling Home. We have some great reviews. We have over 355 star reviews, and a lot of them contain information about the preferences and the type of stays that people have had, basically the type of customer that people are. And so what I had ChatGPT do was, using the deep research function, had it analyze all 350 plus of our reviews, generate insights, generate, things that people noted to, things that people enjoyed, things that they didn't. And this helped to create customer profiles around who is the typical customer that's coming through Rolling Home, and what do they appreciate? What kind of words are they using? And it definitely helped us to input different keywords into our website and into our Google business page in order to optimize SEO around the things that people actually search for and actually appreciate.
Yeah. No, I love that. So exactly. You're creating a customer profile. You're understanding who is the demographic of the person that comes and visits. Ours, Rolling Home, that's an RV park. So it's understanding who the ideal, how do we tailor our brand and our messaging and our SEO to apply to them. So once you've done those couple of things, you understand your website flow, your current SEO, you've created your customer profile. Now think about this too. ChatGPT is gaining all that extra information about your business right there. Super valuable. Now you turn around and you can create Google ads. So Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever ad format that you're finding effective. It could even be billboards, newspapers, whatever, your brochures that you put over at local businesses, whatever form it is. Now you've got ChatGPT understanding your business at a very deep level, and you can ask it to produce appropriate content for the different form that you're looking to put out. So and with that too, you can have it draft. This is just a little SEO tip, drafting frequently asked questions, FAQs, and then putting that as a page on your website with a lot of detail. It's creating keywords based on what are people searching, what are people reviewing, what does your customer profile care about. That's going to improve your SEO because those exist on your website. Somebody looks it up and you're more likely to be clicked. One other piece with that is Google review responses. So, like Max said, we've got 300 plus Google reviews. And to be a professional, both for SEO, but also just to look good and to have opportunities to market to your customers, because where do you look most often when you go to buy something or go stay somewhere new? You probably look at the reviews. It's one of the first things we do. It's one thing we trust more than anything else is people's honest feedback. So it's a great place for you to be in the reviews, making comments about the property. Somebody recently stayed at Rolling Home and they said, "Oh, beautiful park, love the place, clean, awesome, everything else, but Nephi's a little sleepy. There wasn't much to do." Understandable, but this was a perfect opportunity for me to come in there and say, "Hey, we understand Nephi can look a little sleepy from the outside, but here are the top 10 things to do in the area. We got sand dunes close by, ATVing, the hot springs. You can use our sauna and cold plunge. We've got a gym downstairs. We've got the walking trail, la-di-da-di-da. There's really beautiful hikes up in the mountains." So it gave me an opportunity to say, totally understand, but next time you come back, here's a couple great things for you to hit. So when somebody's going through our reviews, boom, they're going to read that. There's nothing to do here. And they're going to see in the comment, actually, oh, those things sound cool, blah, blah, blah. But basically what you can do is take your Google reviews, and once you've responded to a few in the way that you like, in your tonality, in your introductory, "Hey, Jan, hey, so-and-so who wrote the review," however you want to introduce that, the kind of phraseology that you'd like to use, and your outro, then you can copy and paste a bunch of those into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I'd like you to help me to generate review responses." And now all you have to do is copy and paste a review, and it'll automatically generate a response in a similar tone and frame to the reviews that you've written before. And like we've been talking about, now it has all this information about your business from all the other steps we've covered so far. So it's not just based on the reviews that you've given. If it's asking about what can I do at the property, it already knows all that stuff. It knows you have a gym and a cold plunge and a sauna. It knows the sand dunes and the hiking trails. And so it's instantly spitting out, "Hey, here's it's beating you to it." So what I've been doing, it's saved me a ton of time going through and making those individual Google reviews. I mean, we're getting one almost a day, almost every other day. And we'll talk a little bit about how to generate more reviews for your businesses. There's some really good tools on ways to get good reviews. We'll talk about that later on, but we're getting a lot of reviews. So how do you respond really quickly and professionally with consistent messaging? A great way to do it is to use ChatGPT. So anything else on that, guys, before we move to actual content creation?
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, one thing that chat can really help you with, like, oh, I got to build out FAQs, that's going to take forever. Not only can chat answer that usually by just scraping your website, but also just to improve your SEO even further, you can tell chat to write these in the context of attempting to improve my SEO, which means that you're going to make the answers a little bit more lengthy than maybe you would normally. Like, oh, do you have a dog park? You're not just going to say yes. You have ChatGPT help you write, yes, here at the Rollin' Home RV park in Nephi, Utah, we have a dog park and it is, XYZ away. So what this does is this actually helps Google because it teaches Google that your website is helpful, teaches relevance in terms of location and direction for your business to Google, because that's what Google cares about. And that's how you can improve your SEO on search engine, is by showing Google that you're not just a website that's helping your business, you're a website that actually helps people understand direction and where to go in the area that your business is in. And so that's a quick hack for your business to come up in search engines. Is, like he said, what are there things to do? You're going to lay down all of the businesses that are nearby. You're going to lay down how far away they are, and you're going to put their website, and you're going to actually embed a direction from your business to that business so that Google has a Google embedded HTML right in there on the website. And so basically, you're attempting to make your website a resource for Google so that Google has better responses for the consumer. And that sounds relatively complicated, but again, chat will help you do all of this in seconds.
Love it. Absolutely. All right, let's pop to now content creation. Number 3 different ways that you can optimize your business using ChatGPT is to actually generate content. So this is kind of a spin from where we just were, but how do you actually produce the individual pieces? So first of all, if for your business, you can use it to design merchandise. That's something that we've been doing here at Rollin' Home. We had it help us create our logo. We had it spit out a bunch of different logos. So we've been making merch, hats, and things like that. We also have been kind of having some extra fun making designs. So we've
also had fun making cartoon versions of ourselves, because this is loaded now. Let's see how we're looking, guys. What do we think?
Oh, man, that is not great.
Max, why did it give you longer hair, bro?
Dude, it made me look like a girl.
Redhead now.
Yeah, you're...
You know what? I think I know what the problem is, Bezz.
What's that?
Didn't master we didn't
the
meta
prompt is garbage. We told you got to prompt the prompt. Look at that little short. That's funny.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, I look like Hulk
you look
Hogan
like Jesus.
or something. The rose looks good, though. You got the background really good, but man,
boy, you're kind of giving me fat Thor vibes, Bezz.
I am a little bit. Max is my favorite, though.
I look like a librarian. I look like my little sister, actually.
That's funny.
Okay.
Thanks, chat.
Yeah, there we are.
That. Yeah, so you can always get a good laugh out of ChatGPT. But yeah, this is one of the, we kind of made goofy designs. So we're the Rollin' Home RV Park. We made it like the Rolling Stones, the Rolling Homes RV Park. We did a playoff.
Yeah, that
of
one's
a bunch
brilliant,
of different
honestly.
Stuff. It's kind of fun. It's funny. Also, this sign back here. So I wrote a book called Tune Your Mind, and part of it is the monkey mind. There's talk about music, blah 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 blah. So I had ChatGPT produce this image, and then I found a neon sign maker. I think it's called Orant, and they produce these signs. We've got one downstairs too for the park, which is pretty cool. And I'm making one for the gym, the Rollin' Gym. It's got a cool design on it. So, you can design merch, you can design logos, you can make signage for your actual billboards and things, or any kind of other, marketing that you might be putting out for the web, definitely for your website, for magazines, all sorts of stuff. It's pretty, obviously what we just showed you off of the Upside Boys. It's not always pretty, but that's sometimes part of the fun. You get a good laugh out of it. You didn't have to do much to generate a free laugh. But also, so you can do actual content creation as far as visuals. The other thing you can be doing is using it to write email drip campaigns. This applies to pretty much anyone in any different field. Everybody should be, collecting emails and creating email drip campaigns. One of the easiest ways to do it, and especially now that you have ChatGPT. Now that ChatGPT understands the ins and outs of your business, you just say, pick your content schedule, whatever you want. Maybe it's twice a month, maybe it's more than that, whatever it is. But you can preload 20 different emails in a matter of 30 minutes or so, just by saying, hey, here are a couple key concepts, key topics that I want you to talk about. Here's the basic framing of what I want them to look like. And here's the little intro and the little outro. And boom, you can have it generate 1,000 of them if you want to at once. And you go through and pick out your favorites. But it's a really simple way that you can be doing, email follow-up, email drip campaigns. Very simple. Also, you can have it create blogs for you. So this will help with SEO. You can create separate blogs. Hey, what are the top 5 RV parks in Utah? Number 1, Rolling Home RV Park. Number 2, Mountain blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. There's people have been doing this since the beginning of the internet and Google and all. Is you create a blog post. It doesn't have to be, straight up lying. Hopefully you're not, but it's an opportunity for you to create SEO using outside sources. And the beautiful thing is, before you had to go and you had to think through all this kind of stuff, do all the research yourself, you can have that done in a matter of 30 seconds or less. All you have to do is think up the idea and then figure out how to post it on either your website or a separate one. Also OTAs. So, remind me, Max, what's that stand for again? It's travel agencies.
Online travel agencies.
Yeah. Okay. So for rolling home and RV parks in general, but this applies to really all real estate investment asset classes and probably most businesses in general, you've got other platforms that will host your information and will be funnels to lead back to you. So for the RV park, you've got The Dirt, you've got CampSpot, you've got Allstays, you've got all these different platforms, RV Life, that host, hey, rolling home RV park, and here's the funnel to lead you back to the website. And then they collect a little something on getting the customer to you. So that's the other thing, is you can be using ChatGPT to, first of all, analyze those individual pages. How do we look on The Dirt? Give us feedback. What can we do? Can we do better pictures? Can we have better verbiage? Blah, 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 blah. But then you can have it actually generate that content for you too.
Yeah, just a quick pro tip. If one thing you could do is just simply look up a blog, look up top 5 blogs about RV parks in Utah, and then find them and then copy those websites, give them to chat and say, write me a blog using the language that these websites use, because obviously they worked, and create your own that puts your RV park or your business in the top 5. And bada boom, bada bing.
Cool. All right. So yeah, absolutely. That helps you to create, the content creation is helping you to create consistent branding and storytelling across all the different channels, across your website, across different SEO platforms, across the different agencies that are also promoting your information. Consistent brand and storytelling is important when it comes to getting people the same information and making sure that, your guests, your customers, your clients are really understanding who you are. The next piece that we want to talk about, number 4, is guest experience and personal touch. How do we use ChatGPT to optimize our guest experience and to optimize our personal touch? So there's a handful of different things that you can do. One thing that we're doing here at the park is we're creating a local advertisement guide PDF. This actually was an idea that came from being at a conference that Max and I were at recently, an RV park conference, where we met a group called Southeast Publications. They're great. We highly recommend potentially just working directly with them. But what you can also do, what we're going to do, is build a local advertisement PDF or brochure, essentially, that you hand out to your guests that says, here are the local things in town. We've got the grocery stores, the restaurants, the different activities to go and do. You create partnerships with them where you say, hey, for $9.99 a month, we'll put you in our brochure that goes out to every single guest, or give some sort of coupon within it. Like I said, you can just have Southeast Publications actually come out to your RV park if you're in the RV space, and they will actually just build these really beautiful brochure for you with your site maps and all the stuff. It's really nice. Or you could do it yourself. The other thing that, applies to a lot of businesses is creating a referral program, kind of like along the lines of what we're talking about. But for us, we work with a lot of contractors because there's a lot of linemen out here. We do a lot of electrical jobs and things in Nephi. And so we reach out to the local contractors and we ask them, hey, if you have some of your contractors come and stay with us, we will offer a discount off your first month or whatever it is. But you can have ChatGPT, first of all, write you up the actual email introductory pitch that you can send to them, or even a script if you want to reach out and call them over the phone. And I'm blanking on the other thing that I was going to say about that, but also finding the actual general contractors. Hey, ChatGPT, based on Rolling Home RV Park, who are the 20 top general contractors in the area that might have a variety of subcontractors that work for them that would be interested in staying at our park. Please give me the name of the property or the name of the general contractor, where they're located, their phone number, their email, their website. Generate a report in an Excel document that I can, blah, 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 however you want to create it. But utilize ChatGPT. This is what we're talking about a second brain, about your assistant. You want to start thinking about, those things would be a good idea. I'd love to advertise to the local contractor, but guys, it sounds like a lot of work. It's really not. If you start to think about ChatGPT as your assistant, as your second brain, to do homework for you, to write copyright for you, to all of the things, we're giving a lot of really specific examples, but our hope is that these topics will help to stimulate thought that maybe isn't directly in line with reaching out to contractors in your area for an RV park. We realize that might not be applicable to you, but input that same type of thinking into whatever industry you're in, whatever business that you're in, whatever investment class that you focus on, or whatever it is for your business. There's lots of different ways that you can go about utilizing ChatGPT as your assistant, as your second brain, and as we're going to get to a little bit sooner here too, is your actual business coach. Anything else you guys want to touch upon with guest experience?
Yeah, actually, one other part that we've used ChatGPT for is creating the copy and generating the right sequence to communicate with guests before and during and after their stay. So, when a guest reaches the park, we've got a message that goes out that says, hey, we're so glad that you're staying with us. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you. And, and the following messages, we basically worked with ChatGPT, just like a business coach or a partner, or a strategist, to determine what is the right amount of time in between the messages. What is the right thing to say? How should we establish the tone so that it matches the vibe of the business? And we've noticed, great, an increase in reviews because of that, and overall just a better guest experience.
Yeah, great point. And with that, the reviews, I mentioned we would talk about reviews a little bit later. A great way to get great guest feedback, but also really good reviews, is to send out a text message to your customer either the day after they leave your business or whenever is appropriate, and ask them, hey, how do we do on a scale of 1 to 5? Just text us back 1 through 5. And if they send you a 1 through 4, and this is all automated you can set these up through different automations through your systems. We can help with those types of things too. But you have them say 1 through 4. And if it's a 1 through 4, they receive an automatic message that comes back that says, hey, we're really sorry we fell short of, the value that we try to provide on a daily basis. What could we have done better? And this is an opportunity to get feedback on your business and to potentially reach out to this customer and make it right. The other side is if they give you a 5, you have an automatic text message that responds with a link that says, hey, awesome, we're so glad you enjoyed your stay or your time with our business. Would you mind leaving us a review? Here's a link. Boom, they click the link. You already know that they're a happy customer. Bada boom, bada bing. You've got a 5-star review. They already gave you a 5-star before. So that's a great way to build good reviews, because you're redirecting the people that aren't very happy to a more constructive area where you can learn from them and hopefully make it right. And you're redirecting the people who really had a great experience with you to share that with the world through your reviews. So that's a great little sub tool for you. And like I said too, all this stuff, it's important to caveat. We're going through all this. Our our primary objective is to be teachers, to share all this information, to give as much free information away as possible. But we also realize that a lot of people aren't necessarily this might be overwhelming to some. This might feel like a lot of information. This might feel like a lot to do. That's what we're doing here at Upside is we're educating, but we're also helping people implement this stuff. If you say, this is all really cool, I wish I was doing this, I wish I could, I wish I had time, or I wish I even knew how to open up a browser to create a ChatGPT account, or understand that can be difficult for people too. We're here to help. We can either, help you to DIY. We can walk you through the process. We can give you an hour where we sit down and we'll teach you how to set these systems up for yourself, or we can come and implement these for your business as well. We can actually help you to create and generate all the different prompts to help you get started, or we can come in and actually just create different merch for you, create the different content, do all the actual back end stuff, build the review response, a text message automated system like I just talked about. That's really what we're doing here. So just wanted to quick drop that. If some of this is feeling maybe a little bit overwhelming, or you want help with certain things, maybe not because it's too difficult, but maybe you just don't have the time to invest in some of this stuff. That's really what we're here for. That's what we're doing. I'm going to move to employee management. I want to try to wrap it up fairly soon here. We've got 3 more concepts. We're going to kind of just buzz through these, which is okay because we've gotten through the bulk of what we need here. But this one's also important, and it's employee management. So how do you manage your staff using ChatGPT? Because you've already input a lot of great information into the system, it already understands hopefully your values, your overall customer base, the basics of your staff, all those kinds of things. So what you can start having it do is say, hey, create a job description for my receptionist, or for whoever in your business that would be useful. Create a job description for them. Give it as much detail or as little detail as you'd like and see what it comes up with. Another tool that we're using is Scorecards. So for performance reviews, instead of having a meeting where saying, as the boss, you're coming at them, giving them, a lot of feedback on how you see things, what you can do, this is something from my dad, who ran a big medical manufacturing company with 300 plus employees and would do a lot of performance reviews. This was a really great way to do it, is you create a scorecard based on the job description. So you take either your pre-existing job description or the one that you just made in ChatGPT, and you say, hey, make me a 10-question scorecard where the employee will rank themselves based on the key areas that are important in our job description. So if in the job description there's timeliness, it's important that you show up on time. One of the questions from the scorecard is going to say timeliness. How often in the last quarter or the last period since our last performance review did you show up on time? Give yourself an A through F, just like we did in school. And you let the employee respond to that and say, hey, I feel like I got to be this time. I had a few times where I was a little bit late, but I really did my best to show up on time and all that stuff. What you're doing is you're getting them to take accountability. And you're getting them to really understand, the key. It's a training opportunity, but you really don't even have to lead the conversation. It's their opportunity to share with you. And, my experience with it, and certainly my dad's, has always been that people, 95% of people are incredibly honest, probably, give themselves lower grades than they actually deserve. And another caveat to that is you can bonus people for maybe A's. I give bonuses for people who get A's. But just a little concept, little idea for you, but also a way to create that using ChatGPT. Bezz, you looked like you were holding the mic up, but maybe that's just.
Oh,
no. And then also with that, hiring and firing. So take your job description. I recently did this. I had a new cleaning lady who was coming in, and about 10 minutes before the meeting, I revised my job description using ChatGPT, and I asked it, I said, hey, using the job description here, can you produce me 15 questions that I can ask this employee that will be useful to, around our hiring conversation? It spit out a lot of really good stuff. I didn't use all of them, but many of them were valuable. And then also with firing, asking it, hey, but what are the legalities around firing in my particular state? What do I need to do to document correctly? Help me document correctly based on the information that I've given you. Timestamps, all that kind of stuff. Some of those are more legal caveat things, but ChatGPT can be super useful in keeping you organized, keeping you on top of all of those different pieces, and making sure that you're providing your employees with a really professional and streamlined process.
Totally. And when it comes to staff operations, hopefully you have systems and processes in place, step-by-step instructions for how to execute the daily tasks. But I'm sure, this is how we started before we started implementing these tools, is it was just on just by spoken word. When we hired, we would just walk people through how to do it and maybe give them an example. But really the best way to do it that we found has been to list and SOPs using ChatGPT, using the voice function by basically giving it all of these step-by-step instructions for how to execute the tasks, having it format them into standard operating procedures and checklists that staff can then use on a daily basis to make sure that they're taking the exact right steps to do whatever they have to do.
Awesome. All right. The last two things here, I'm going to cover them fairly quickly, but number 6 is real estate acquisition. So a lot of the people that we work with are real estate investors. A great way to be looking at deals is to build a deal screener. And we actually have a custom GPT where it understands cap rates, it understands cash on cash, IRRs, all those types of things. And you just feed it all of the raw data that you have, either off an offering memorandum, else you're looking at your deal, and it spits out a really good analysis. You can ask it about locations. There's tons of detail to it. And from that, then you can have it draft an LOI or a purchase offer in a really clean, consistent format to whatever you really prefer based on how you typically do business. I'm not going to go too much farther into that. We'll probably do a whole different YouTube video just about how to analyze deals and to use ChatGPT and different AI tools to really automate the actual investment process. The last piece I really want to touch on before we go here is strategic planning and growth. So number 7, how do we optimize our businesses using ChatGPT? We've been alluding to this a little bit, but is to start thinking of ChatGPT as your business coach. So now that we've gone through and we've input all of these different pieces, we've talked about our employees, we've created master prompts, we've done marketing optimization, we've created content, at this point, your guest experience, all these different pieces, the ChatGPT now understands your business very deeply at this point. Now is your opportunity to start talking to ChatGPT like it's your business coach. So there's a way that you can actually do a voice mode where it will literally be a live person. It'll be your ChatGPT, and you will just ask it, hey, I just input a ton of stuff about my business. I'm not really sure how to work this thing, but how can I use you as a business coach? Can we have a business coaching conversation and you give me a little bit of feedback based on what you now know about my business? Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. Here's a few things that I've learned based on the information that you provided me. And it will start to give you feedback, and you can ask it questions. Hey, how could I'm a little bit tight on my revenue right now. I really would like to grow on it. What could I be doing? What ways could I change it? What do you think about my branding? What do you think about the way that I'm interacting with my guests? Based on the reviews, how do you feel about the current positioning that I'm taking? What else could I do to add value to my business? To really start to have conversations, whether it's in the text chat or whether it is through the voice mode. It's how do I start to look at this ChatGPT that I've now built? I've now created a system that understands my business probably better than most of your employees, and on some days probably better than yourself. And it will be able to give you really great information, really great data. All the same tools apply. Remember to prompt it by saying, hey, well, who's a business coach that you maybe look up to in the real estate world? Maybe it's a Grant Cardone, maybe it's a Donald Trump if you're feeling a little wild, and say, hey, give me their feedback and how would you respond in their tonality and all that kind of stuff. So really just thinking of it as a business coach. And with that, it's not just, that that point does not just relate to your business. As you start to input lots of information about your own life, about your businesses, about the things that are important to you, really start to think of ChatGPT like a coach, like a life coach, like a relationship coach, like a business coach. And not that you have to take all of its advice. It doesn't always come up with great stuff, but it's starting to get really, really smart. And the more nuance you're able to provide about your specific life, the better that feedback is actually going to be. Anything else you guys want to touch on that piece?
I think I'm going to start having my chatbot talk like Donald Trump just to get a laugh out of the tonality.
Yeah.
That's what I
All right,
learned.
we actually got a call we got to jump on right now with a company that's helping us track calls and has some AI tools. So that is it for 7 different tools to help you optimize your business using ChatGPT. Like we said, we'll help you by creating, we have custom GPTs. If you're interested in the actual prompts, we'll send those to you. We also do AI opportunity mapping, where we go through your business and we take a look at what are the most useful ways that you could use automations, different tools, different agents, and we can either help you DIY them or we can come in and implement them for you in your business.
Yeah, less grind, more gain. That's the upside. We'll see you next time.
That's the upside.